Hi, let's have a look at the Fit to Reader Stream 2. Now, first one we want to look at is a navigation. Now, in your Fit to Reader, if you've got it with you now, it's a number of buttons in the middle. Now, before we do anything, on the left-hand side of the Fit to Reader stream, you go to the side of it on the left at the very top is the power button. Now, if you press that button down for me, keep your finger on it for 5 seconds, you'll hear a beep, and then the Fit to Reader will turn on. Try that now. Once it's on, we're now ready to start navigating and connect it to the Wi-Fi. But first you need to know how to do that. Now, as I said, there's many buttons within the Fit to Reader. So we're going to start at the very top. Now we've got different shapes of buttons at the top. There's 3 of them. So grab your finger, go to the top left-hand corner, and you should feel a rectangle button. That's your bookshelf button. On the right of that, in the very middle at the top, is a circular button. That is your Wi-Fi button, where you can turn the Wi-Fi on and off. With the Wi-Fi button, you can go to your, if you like, physical bookshelf and your storage on your Fit to Reader or online. So you use the middle one to cycle through your Wi-Fi. So that's a circular button. And the button on the right, if you put your finger there on the far right, is a diamond button. That's your bookmark button. But also you're going to use that button to change from uppercase to lowercase if you're adding text in. For example, passwords. So there's your 3 buttons at the top. On the left, you have your rectangle button. In the middle is your main Wi-Fi button on and off. And on the right is a diamond bookmark or uppercase and lowercase button. Now there's a little gap between the 3 buttons at the top to the middle. Now grab your finger and I just want you to hover over with your finger all the buttons in the middle. And as you hover over them all, you'll find there's 12 buttons in the middle. At the bottom there's 4. We're not going to worry about that. It's the middle of the Fit to Reader. Now, remember what I said, top left hand corner, your first button at the very top is a rectangle bookshelf button. So there's a little gap. If you come underneath that, you've got your first button will be the number 1 button. Then to the right of that, there'll be a number 2 button. And again, to the right of that will be a number 3 button. And the number 3 button will be underneath the diamond button. Then again, if you come back to the left, underneath the 1 button will be the 4 button. And so on. Underneath the 4 button, the 7 button. So there you have 9 keys starting from 1. But I said earlier there's 12 buttons. So that's only number 9. At those 12 buttons in the middle, grab your finger where number 1 was, which is just underneath the rectangle bookshelf button, top left. Come down 3 for me. So as you come down, you first go to 4, then 7. Then after that, at the bottom, there's another key, and this is your star key. So at the bottom of all those numbers in the middle, the 10th, 11th and 12th key at the bottom will be a star key, and on the right of that is the 0 key, and on the right of that is the hash key. So remember your middle number pad, you'll be using them a lot. So 1 through to 9, and then at the very bottom, we've got some extra buttons. So I want you to come down from those numbered keypads, that numbered keypad, and go down to the bottom. As you come down to the bottom with your finger, you'll find a circular button. Now, that tells you the time and date, but also very handy, that button. If you keep your finger on it, you can set a timer. So if you want it to turn off at a specific time, maybe at night or whatever, you can set the timer on there by depressing and pressing that button. That's the circular button. Now, last of all, at the very bottom of the Fit to Reader, you've got 3 more buttons. And come right down underneath the circular button in the middle at the bottom, you'll feel a rectangle button. Just hover over that for me. And on the left and right of that, you'll find some arrow keys. So on the left of that, we'll be going left, and on the right of the rectangle key in the middle, there's an arrow key on the right that goes right. Now, the middle button, the rectangle button in the middle you're on now, is to play and pause. So you can play back your own recordings and notes, maybe ebooks online and so podcasts. And the arrows left and right will jump between various files. So there's your outlay. So I want to go to the very top again, where we got the very top buttons at the top of the Victor Reader, which is top left hand corner, which is the rectangle button. That's your bookshelf button. Then on the right of that in the middle is a circular Wi-Fi button. Then on the right of that again is a diamond button, which is your bookmark and upper and lowercase button when you're adding passwords. And remember, there's a little space under that, then you've got 12 keys as well underneath, starting from 1 through to 9. And at the very bottom of those 12 keys in the middle on the left, underneath the 7, will be a star, 0 and a hash key. Just a quick point. Try this out for me now. I want you to keep your finger on the number 1 key for me. Don't depress it, just keep your finger on it. It should give you a user guide. So it's definitely worth, if you get stuck, listening to that. If you depress number 1, the user guide will stop. So just a little tip there as well. Now, first thing we need to do is actually get it up and running with your Wi-Fi. So remember where the Wi-Fi key is. So at the very top of the Victor Reader, we've got those 3 keys, rectangle, circular and diamond. So the middle circular key is your Wi-Fi. If you press that key for me, if you press that button for me, and you should hear an option that says online bookshelf. Once you hear that option, now going on that number keypad underneath, remember 1 through to 9. Remember that keypad underneath 1 through to 9. Find the 7 key for me. So remember, top left hand corner is the rectangle bookshelf key. Then there's a space, then there's a number 1. Directly underneath 1 is 4. And directly underneath 4 is 7. So I want you to press the 7 key, which is your menu key. Then you should hear the option that says, it should say menu wireless. If it doesn't, I need you to repeat the procedure of what we did earlier by clicking the Wi-Fi key at the top and then pressing number 7 again quickly. Because using the top button in the middle, the circular Wi-Fi button, we need to be in the Wi-Fi option first. Once you've done that, come to the middle and press the 8 key, which is on the right of the 7 key. And that, keep pressing that 8 key to hear scan available connections. This is how we're trying to find your Wi-Fi. So on the right of the 7 key, click the 8 key. Once you hear your Wi-Fi name, then I want you to click. Once you get to your Wi-Fi connection, can you remember where the hash key is? Remember, we've got the numbers in the middle, 1 to 9. Then after 1 to 9 at the bottom of the 12 keys is a star underneath the 7 on the left, a 0 underneath the 8, and a hash key underneath the 9 key. So once you get to your internet connection, click the hash key for me. This is now where you're ready. It will ask you to enter your password. Now, this is what I told you earlier about going to the very top of the Victor Reader. We've got those 3 buttons again. Remember? Bookshelf top left, rectangle. In the middle, top is the Wi-Fi button. The one we want is on the right, which is the diamond button. That is the uppercase and lowercase button. By pressing that, we'll put you in uppercase or lowercase so you can add your password in. So just remember that in case you do need uppercase or lowercase. Now you're ready to add your password. Now, how do we bring up symbols and letters when we've only got numbers in the middle from 1 to 9? Well, these keys do multiple options. So for example, I want you to try this out first, unless you want to put your password in specifically. Pressing the number key a number of times creates different symbols. So if you press the number 1 key once, it will say 1. Press it again, it will say period. Press it again, number 1 key will say comma, question mark, dash. So that's how you create symbols, by continuously pressing the number 1 key. If you can't find your symbol, remember, go to the bottom of those 12 keys. 1 to 9 is numbers, and remember the bottom of those 12 keys, there's a star, 0 and a hash key at the bottom. I want you to click the 0 button in the middle. And that will give you even more. That will give you your exclamation mark, at sign, pound sign. So every time you tap the button, it will give you different symbols. So remember the 1 and 0 to add symbols. Now, adding letters. This is where we use the numbers. So go to the number 2 key, which will be underneath the top Wi-Fi circular button, the number 2 key. Press that once, it will say A. Press it again, B. Press it again, C. And press it again, it will say 2. And that's how you cycle through letters and numbers. So the number 3 key will then be, again press it once, D, E, F, and 3, and so on. So number 4 key would then be G, H, I, and 4, going all the way through to the number 9 key, which will then be W, X, Y, Z, and 9. Don't forget to use the upper and lowercase button, top right hand corner of your Victor reader, which is a diamond button, to change from upper to lowercase. Once you've added your password in there, remember where the hash key is. It's at the underneath the 9 key, bottom right hand corner of those 12 keys, and that's your confirm key. So select the hash key, and hopefully that should then connect you to the Wi-Fi. So that's part 1, connecting to Wi-Fi.